I don't know much about the movement other than I understand they like me very much, which I appreciate.
Well, at the crux of the theory is this belief that you are secretly saving the world from this satanic cult of pedophiles and cannibals. Does that sound like something you are behind? Or
Well, I haven't heard that, but is that supposed to be a bad thing or a good thing? I mean, if I can help save the world from problems, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put myself out there.
That's our president giving a hat tip to QAnon. It's insane. It's a dangerous group of conspiracy theorists. In fact, as I told you before the break, the FBI has labeled them domestic terrorists, satanic pedophiles, cannibals. Trust me, it's only the tip of the iceberg with the tinfoil hat crowd here. A QAnon supporter also bought into that Pizzagate story you may remember, which said Hillary Clinton and other top Democrats were running a child sex trafficking ring in the basement of a D.C. pizza place. Now, who in their right mind would believe that, you ask? Well, a gunman did, and he stormed the place with an AR-15 and opened fire, saying he was looking for the child abusers. He wound up getting sentenced for 4 years in prison. QAnon followers believe that U.S. intelligence agencies and America's cultural elite, including Hollywood types, are all working together in some diabolical plot to ruin the world. And there's a secret savior named Q who's trying to stop them, and he needs the help of our commander-in-chief. And if that's not scary enough, the President of the United States, he praised these people yesterday, saying they are people who love their country. You'd say, how can you make it worse? Well, let me tell you. 19 QAnon followers have secured spots on Republican ballots for congressional races this fall. That according to a watchdog group called Media Matters. Okay, among the group, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the GOP nominee. She's a conservative district in Georgia, so she's probably going to win in November. Well, Ms. Greene believes there is an Islamic invasion of the United States government. She suggested 9/11, was a fake, and also that there's a global cabal of Satan-worshiping pedophiles. That hasn't stopped the president from complimenting Ms. Greene. After her primary win, he sent out a tweet calling her a future Republican star and a real winner. Another face of the new Republican Party, the Trump Party, is the woman on your screen now, Laura Loomer. Tuesday night, she won the Republican primary in a Florida district where Mar-a-Lago is located. Dana Milbank wrote a column in the Washington Post about the new wackos in the party, and I want to read a portion of it from you now. And this is how he described Ms. Loomer. She has called Muslim savages, Islam a cancer on society, herself a proud Islamophobe. She's demanded a non-Islamic form of Uber or Lyft because I never want to support another Islamic immigrant driver. She says she wants more migrants to die. Now, things aren't just R&D anymore. It's now becoming a choice between, frankly, lies and lunacy and normalcy on the other side, at least in a growing number of parts of this country. Things are so bad at the White House, even the Trumpiest Fox News host Sean Hannity reportedly says the president is, and I quote, bat bleep crazy, and he didn't say bleep. That and other juicy nuggets. They're in the new book coming out from CNN media reporter Brian Stelter, the book called, appropriately, Hoax. Book also claims Hannity is privately called Trump's shadow chief of staff, even though Sean himself says Trump is totally nuts. That's Sean Hannity. Stelter also says he interviewed hundreds of current and former Fox staffers, and the consensus is they don't believe in Trump or are downright petrified about what he will do or believes in, but they still push the party line. Stelter also describes what he calls the resistance inside Fox ever since Trump started running. But there's been little resistance from inside this administration or even from former officials. Now, there is exceptions. A former Homeland Security official named Miles Taylor, he has stepped forward and he started spilling secrets from inside the West Wing.
I am telling you with every fiber of my being that some of the president's closest advisors did not think He had the mental acuity to do the actual job.
Trump also spoke about what could happen if Trump, in fact, won re-election.
There are people serving very close to the president that have told me verbatim, we should expect, quote, shock and awe if the president wins a second term. You will see a flurry of executive orders. You will see the president pull out of foreign alliances. You will see the president align with dictators around the world.
Because, Andrew, at that point, he's got nothing to lose.
I'm sure he thinks of it that way.
Among other things that Mr. Taylor said was during the wildfires that California saw raging a year or so ago, the president didn't want to help California because they said bad things about them. He wanted to, and I can't believe this, trade Puerto Rico or sell Puerto Rico to try and do a swap for Greenland. First of all, the logic of, like, you're playing a game of risk, right? But my God.
And because Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans, according to the quote from Trump, are dirty.
And poor.
Right, Americans. He's describing these Americans as poor and dirty, and that's why he wants to sell the territory.
We run a risk, and I do my best every night on this program to not fall prey to it, but of normalizing this because it happens a different chapter every day, and there's arguments that say, oh, Rich, you're just going for the bright, shiny object of the day. You're getting distracted from focusing on COVID or focusing on, hijacking elections and all the rest. Okay, but are we supposed to listen to our president praise a group of people who, by the way, in addition to what I said, it's the tip of it. I mean, they're anti-Semitic. I can go up and down the list when I talk about QAnon, but just the insanity of it all. He does that from the White House. And when the FBI labels them domestic terrorists and my president says, thanks for the hat tip, Q, what do? You really ignore this, and then you hear warnings from Taylor. And I'll tell you, Andrew, I'm telling to people now, more than 2 months from the election, if he's one of the only people that worked in this administration who's putting his name on it, you and I always joke about people who are anonymous, whether it's somebody on the team who doesn't want to put his name to criticize the coach. I appreciate James Mattis for writing that editorial condemning what the president did at Lafayette Park. But there's a whole bunch of folks who either were fired or quit or resigned in protest from this administration who know what he not only is capable of or what he has said and believes that have remained silent. If any of them try writing a book after November, or if any of them say after November, I did my best, it would have been worse if I wasn't there, they're unpatriotic. They have a responsibility, I believe in my bones, to this country to say, this is what I saw, and I will put country before party or before president.
Agree 100%. I just don't think it stops with the people who are in the cabinet or in the president's inner circle. The Senate Intelligence Committee report came out and said, we knew right at the time that Paul Manafort was basically running Russian counterintelligence and making up the Ukraine stuff to get himself off the hook because he was personally in.
And the president coordinated to try and leak stuff, or his team did, about Podesta emails they knew beforehand.
And the Republican members of the Senate Intelligence Committee who put their names on that report still voted no on impeachment, still voted no for witnesses, and have
this week said it wasn't so bad.
And have allowed him to do the things that he has done. These have to be reported because the headlines that occupy our time, there are dangerous things happening behind them as well. And it's not just the insiders. Everybody in that party, to a degree, is culpable.
Yes, but I am saying out loud, and I'm talking to you, Tillerson, and I'm talking to you, Kelly. I'm talking to the folks who know what he is capable of, what he says, what he believes, what he will do. Don't wait till after the election to make your voice heard. That's not, you don't get to be called a hero or a patriot at that point. It's too late. Okay, when we come back, speaking of those close to the president, Steve Bannon You can add him now to the list of Trump associates who are facing federal charges, arrested today. We're going to show you how the president reacted to that news, and then we'll hear from a former federal prosecutor about both the Bannon case and also new developments when it comes to Trump's tax returns.